Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is a screenwriter's rant on Haunted Hotel, a new cartoon on Netflix. Uh, that's all right. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys books 1 through 18, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So the premise of the series is that the hotel is haunted by many ghosts, and it was owned by the main character's brother, but he died, and now it's run by his living sister, who lives there with her 2 kids and a possessed little boy who's possessed by a demon. He's a little boy from the 1700s who's possessed by a demon. It's okay. It's all right. So let me give you my non-spoiler review. I mean, there's not much to spoil. It is visually pretty cool. They're dumping a ton of ghosts and monsters in it. Keith David does the voice of this big demon on the left. I'm not sure if he comes back. Will Forte's okay. He's never really not funny. He's kind of amusing, but I never get really belly laughs from Will Forte. He plays sort of a guy who, well, now that he's a ghost, he sort of defends the ghost from his sister who wants them gone. These are all the ghosts. This guy is psycho, is constantly stabbing people, but he's a ghost, so he can't hurt anybody. This is the ghost that falls for her teenage son. She's actually 90, but she died as a teenager, so she's trapped as a teenager, and then all various people who have died over the years. I don't know. This guy wasn't introduced in the episode I saw. This character here is the daughter. There's like a daughter and son of the sister here, and she's a lot like Louise from Bob's Burgers. She's very scheming. Wants to find the corpse of the ghost who her brother's dating, so she can find a diamond necklace and be rich. So, you got to kind of simplify it. The cartoon's only a half hour long. But a lot happens in this first episode just to introduce all the characters. And, it's mildly amusing. I would say. It's mostly harmless. It's billed as adults, an adult cartoon. I'm not sure if they're doing that to get kids to watch it, because I didn't really see anything too objectionable other than the horror stuff, I guess they're worried about. I mean, there is demons, and then there's people with their, the ghosts are like, they look like how they died, so some of them have wounds and blood on them. But it's very cartoony, and it doesn't, doesn't make me squeamish at all. Here's the young teenage son who's 13. Would I watch another episode? I might, just to see how the characters, The first episode is really just sort of laying the groundwork. The possessed child from the 1700s, I'm not sure. That's a little much. He's supposed to be like the Stewie of the group, right? He's supposed to be the weird guy who's in the family, but at the same time is super weird and oh so proper, and is constantly talking about killing everybody. Yeah, those characters, like, they're kind of knockoffs of Addams Family. But the thing about the Addams Family was they were genuinely creepy, but you never saw them do anything or it would be off camera, right? They were always talking about it, but sort of like in a fun way, whereas the newer versions of those characters seem to be not very subtle. And if he's a demonic entity, I'm not sure why he doesn't have any powers, why he's trapped in the little boy's, possessed body. And, it kind of is too much to get across in a wacky sitcom. I think that character was not needed. I think they could have done without the character. I think I would have liked, he could be in an episode, I suppose. They could uncover him. But I would have preferred the focus on the main characters just to get to know them a little more. It seemed like the show was so intent on establishing its convoluted premise and all of the various ghosts in the hotel, it kind of ignored the basic characters. Probably really needed an hour premiere for this show, because it's a bit of a complicated, it's not that complicated, but it's a bit of a complicated setup with all the ghosts. And all for really a couple of laughs about the ghost that stabs people but can't hurt anybody. I think they would have been better served introducing the ghosts one at a time and making them and like tamping it down. Like they come out the gate super high and then try to go even higher. And they succeed a little bit, but by the end of the episode, they're basically doing crazy things. I don't want to give it away because this is a non-spoiler review, but this is an example to me of a show that should have started lower and had some place to go. So I might watch a second episode. It's not bad, but it's not great. Obviously this is the kind of stuff I like. It's sort of in the, you could see the Pineys showing up in an episode of this. But it's kind of so ridiculous. There's almost no time for the joke. There's like too much going on, and there's almost no time for the jokes is part of the problem. So I would have cut it back a little bit and focused a little more on establishing the characters. So maybe that plays out in the subsequent episodes. It's possible. They dropped them all at once. The animation's pretty frantic. I didn't mind that. They seem to be going for a lot of like homages to various horror movies. I think I saw a Beetlejuice worm in one scene. So it's got some of that. So, all right. So that's my non-spoiler review. So spoilers ahoy, everybody. So first act, it establishes the hotel, and I forget his name, Stabby Pete or someone is the ghost is running around stabbing people, but he can't hurt anybody because he's a ghost. The little girl plays with the ghost, basically pretending that she's scared and then letting the ghost catch up to her and stab her. But he's a ghost, so the knife just goes through her and doesn't hurt her. Which isn't a bad bit, but probably, again, too high and too complicated right out the gate. I get it. You're trying to establish that the ghosts don't really bother them. I think you could have done that better, or save that bit for later. Little too high right out the gate. So then a guest shows up, or at least someone they think is a guest, and he's kind of a mobster guy, and they're about to get a room ready for him, but there's so many ghosts in the place. There's not a single room that doesn't have a ghost or a monster in it. And eventually they pick one, and they give the guy the key, and it goes through his hand, and she realizes, oh, it's a ghost. So he won't be staying at the hotel, and in fact, he's just he's a mobster who's reliving his death. And so he relives his death, and then the stabby ghost comes out and stabs him like, an extra time, because that's all he can do. Yeah, it's not great, but it's kind of okay. But like too much right out the gate. Like you're making joke. There's so many ghosts here, you're like tripping over them. Eventually, the sister decides she's going to hire an exorcist and get rid of the ghost. Okay, makes sense, I guess. The brother's against it because he's a ghost and he likes the ghost for some reason. So he won't be staying at the hotel, and in fact, he won't be staying at the hotel. 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 But he has a ghost town hall meeting to try to get them to behave. And then the sister comes in there and ruins it with a ridiculous plan where she says, "Oh, all you ghosts go up into the attic." And then the ghosts get mad at her. Again, seems like too much. So she hires the exorcist. The exorcist starts banishing the ghost, and particularly one that was pooping and peeing in the hall, which again is pretty lowbrow. And they only do the joke twice. So the first iteration of the joke is some like farmer guy in overalls, and he pees in the hallway, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing, Ezekiel?" And the ghost brother, former manager of the hotel, says, "Oh, in his defense, that's where the bathroom used to be," which is kind of funny, but at the same time, like, does it matter that he pees in the hall? He's a ghost. So if it doesn't matter that the ghost stab you, why does it matter that the ghost pees in the hall? And then later, when the exorcist is there, he's copping a squat in the middle of the hall with his overalls opened up and is about to drop a deuce when the exorcist turns around and then causes him to explode, which also doesn't make sense. Like, I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure why that matters. The ghost is, the spirit of a dead person. Didn't make any sense. So then it turns out the exorcist is dropping ghosts in the void so she can open a dimension into hell so she can bring forth a demon. And she tells him that the ghosts fight demons. I don't know why that's a rule in the show. It's an odd rule. So basically, as it turns out, she is removing the ghost so she can summon the demon through this bleeding mirror that's in the middle of the lobby and bleeds all the time. So this is the demon they summon. They're running away, and the demon's trashing the hotel and running after them. And of course, the sister has to re-summon all the ghosts back, using her son as a conduit, because he's established as some sort of conduit to the ghost world. And all the ghosts come back and fight the demon, and then he goes away, and then we're back to status quo. So it's just too much, too convoluted. Like, ghosts typically, like, you could have started low. Start with the family coming and one ghost that's bothering them, and they have to deal with that. Maybe add the brother ghost, I guess, but I think you started way too high. That being said, I like this sort of genre. I'd give it another chance. It's trying. It doesn't. It's not woke in any way. Apparently, at least in the first episode, it just got renewed for a second season. I like the animation. I like the voice cast. I just wish it was written better. I think you should slow down and explore some of these characters. Maybe it's because they knew it was going to be binged. They didn't care and sort of slapped them all out. There's something to be said for that on Netflix, but at the same time, I would like you to establish the characters a little bit more, because I don't feel invested in any of them. And Will Forte kind of spends too much time mugging it up for the camera, even though he's a cartoon character. I know that's like nearly impossible, but it's kind of what he's doing. Like, he's doing his shtick as I don't know. He does this thing where he's sort of an emasculated guy, but at the same time he's super important. And it's not great. It could be good. Like, he has an opportunity for it to be good if the rest of the characters around him were solid. The little girl isn't bad, but again, she just feels like another version of Louise. And she's hanging out with the possessed boy from the 1700s who's a demon. It's just, I don't know, that I don't think that character can work. I would have been fine with just the brother and the sister, maybe a third child who was, I mean, if you had to make him like Stewie, maybe. I think you could have come up with different personalities. Any other personalities. He feels very much like an evil version of Stewie. More evil. So, yeah, so it's on Netflix. I mean, the bar's pretty low for me because I got Netflix for nothing. So I would, if I had nothing else to do, and I had nothing else to do tonight, I'd watch another episode. I'd give it, like another 2 or 3 episodes to really sort of hook me. And if it's just the same lame jokes for the next 2 episodes, then I'm out. So maybe I'll do another review. So I'm right on the bubble here. It was short enough. I didn't feel totally wasted with my time. I wanted to kill some time. But I felt like I need a little more here. So I'll give you 2 more episodes, Haunted Hotel. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Doing my videos early. So I am at the Mercer County Library in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. It's Lawrenceville Township from 10 to 2 today. Sunday, I will be at the Dragon Shops in Bridgeton. It may get rained out. It's possible. It's probably going to rain in the morning. But so far, the forecast says clear skies after the morning. So I'm kind of on the bubble about it. But tune in, and there'll be an announcement if I decide to bail. Follow me on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.